Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Prosperity Mindset Call. We're here every single Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, and the call designed to get our day started. Today, we're getting our weekend started, right? And just excited about another weekend to be able to go out and do something great. And I believe every single morning when I get up, something great's about to happen in a big, big way. And I know you feel that way the same way that I do, or you would be on this call. And I'm excited to see people plugging in because, if you don't plug in, your check will not light up. It's just that simple. You won't light up. You can't. The electricity's not there. It's not flowing through you. The energy to pass the belief's not there. And we all know this is a business of transferring energy, transferring belief. And this morning, I want to share something with you that was shared with me a long, long time ago. As we get excited about, we talk about our core values and our core activities that we need to be engaged in every single day to build a big business. But one of the things that really frustrated me when I first started picking up the phone and making phone calls and I got in this industry, it was, why wouldn't people get on the calls? Why didn't people that I invite get on? And it was something that I found out, and it was me. It wasn't them. It was me. It was the way I was conveying the information. It was the way that I was setting the tone on the front end of that conversation. And I made a slight adjustment. You know what? I went to college at Purdue University and left there and went to Western Kentucky. But I remember when I went to the first Indy 500. I remember the first time in my life. I grew up in a small town in southwestern Pennsylvania with 3,000 people. So when I went to Indy 500, they had more people there than they probably had in my whole part of the state of Pennsylvania where I grew up. So it was definitely a culture shock for me. But what I do remember is I remember the first race that I went to. It was the first year that a racer broke the 200-mile barrier, the 200-mile-an-hour barrier. And I remember reading after the race was over. I didn't realize it happened at the race, but after I read the news after the race, that I had been somewhere where history was made, and I was sitting there listening and reading to a statement that Mario Andretti wrote, the famous race car driver. He wrote that he had to make some slight adjustments. There was only some slight adjustments that took him from the high 190s over 200 miles an hour. And it was amazing because not only did he cross that barrier, but there was a number of other racers that crossed that barrier at the same race. So what was significant about that race? What changed the way people looked at that race and what they did mechanically to change the performance of the car? They changed the front end. They changed the draft, the draft of the car, the kind of the airflow that they allowed the car to catch. When it was catching, they were drafting and behind other race cars. They made a slight adjustment on the front end of the car that sped the car up to cut the wind down, to push less resistance to the front end of the car. And now 5 or 6 racers that never ever cracked 200 miles an hour start cracking 200 miles an hour. And that's what I want to talk about on this call this morning, because you got to make some slight adjustments at time to create the dynamics that you want, to create the speed that you want on the front end of the business. And one of the things that I did, when I would pick up the phone and I would call people, I said, hey, I want to invite you on this call at 9:30 tonight. And I would start telling them about the call, and they said, well, I got something going on at 9:30. And I would hang up the phone. I said, okay, great. And I'd hang up the phone. I wouldn't say anything else, and I'd pick up the next number and call that number and say, hey, I got a call I want to invite you to at 9:30 tonight. And they would say, I'm busy at 9:30. And I would hang up and call the next person. And that went on and on for probably about a week. I said, why are these people not getting on the call? Why don't they want to even hear about the call? And I learned something, and it was something that was a slight adjustment. I happened to be in a car with one of my mentors, and he was making phone calls. And he was going contacting and inviting. And I was listening to him pitch on the phone. And the first thing he said was, let me ask you a question. What do you got going on at 9 o'clock tonight? And the person said, nothing. He said, great. You need to be on this call. Now, what he did was, it was called clearing the schedule. He cleared their schedule. He asked them up front what they had going on. Instead of telling them about the call and telling them the time, he asked them what they were doing at that time. And it was amazing. That slight adjustment of called clearing the schedule. It's called clearing the schedule. Hey, what do you got going on tomorrow at noon? Nothing. Great. I got something important you got to see at noon tomorrow. Instead of him just telling them about the time and what that call is about, he cleared the schedule first. Ladies and gentlemen, that slight adjustment made a very, very big impact on the front side of my business. Because now people couldn't say they were busy because I asked them up front, what do you have going on at that time? And most people didn't have anything going at that time, but what I did was I was pitching it from a position of, hey, just get on the call at a certain time, instead of making value with that time, instead of what I call clearing the schedule with the time, and then sharing with them what they need to check out. And it was amazing. Just that little slight adjustment got my business moving faster because I had more people on the calls. Just a little slight adjustment. It sounds kind of minuscule or small, but it was a big thing because now I'm able to get more people on the calls in front of the message, and they're hearing the message, they're feeling the message, they're seeing other people around the world be a part of the message, and now they caught the vision of what we were doing. So you got to clear the schedule first. So when you pick up the phone, you're calling somebody, say, hey, what you got going on tomorrow at 9:30? Nothing. Great. I got something you got to see at 9:30. They can't say they're busy. You just asked them, and they said no. You cleared their schedule. And that little slight adjustment, ladies and gentlemen, it might sound like something very, very small, but I'm telling you right now, it was very impactful. I was able to start getting more people on the call. I was able to get more people in the trainings. I was able to get more people doing the same thing I was doing, clearing schedules, getting more people in front of the presentations. And what happens is when you get more people in front of the presentation, we all know what the answer is. The ratios are going to be in your favor. And once you get ratios in your favor, ladies and gentlemen, you couldn't stop this business if you tried. It'd be like trying to catch a boulder coming off the rock of Gibraltar, and you're at the bottom of the mountain. You know what's going to happen when that boulder comes off the mountain. It's going to have so much momentum, it's going to smash you. And that's the same way this business is. So we got to get good at clearing people's schedule. Hey, what do you got going on tomorrow at noon? Nothing? Okay, great. That's when you do the contact and invite. Clear the time, clear the schedule on the front end of the business, and watch what happens. You'll get more signups. And then confirm the guest. Confirm the guest. People say, well, I'm on the phone confirming. How can you be confirming your own people? You can't confirm your own people, not effectively. What a confirmation call is simply like this. You call back with your sponsor or whoever you're working with, and you introduce them to the person. Say you're calling me. You introduce them. Hey, Cedric, this is David. David told me some great things about you. David invited you on the noon call today. I know it's incredibly important for you to be there because I'm telling you great things are happening, Cedric. Do not miss this call. Is anything going to change from stopping you being there? No, great. You need to be there. That's a confirmation call. That's a confirmation call. If we're not doing those things, then we can't get nothing. We can't get things happening in our business because we're not getting enough people in front of the message. See, you want to be a great directing traffic. You want to be great at getting people into certain spots to get to certain information that you want them to get. And once I understood the dynamics, just being a traffic cop, being able to point, edify, and share, big things start happening. Point, edify, and share. Point, edify, and share. When I got that rhythm, point, edify, share. Point, edify, share. When I start getting that down, things start happening. I just start pointing people. Hey, pointing them to the website, pointing them to a person, pointing them to a story, pointing them to the product, pointing them to compensation, pointing them to leadership, pointing them to the company, pointing them to an event. Edify, share. Point, edify, and share. When I start doing that, boom, rhythms start happening in my organization. And it was kind of like a little dance. Point, edify, and share. Point, edify. And then the team start getting involved and start becoming a rhythm inside of the culture of our organization. And that's what we're looking to get now going. And we got a little bit of it going. We got to keep it going. We got to keep the pedal to the metal right now. We got momentum coming out of this first boot camp. And it's amazing. The people that came to the boot camp, I can look at their activity levels. I got some traffic things linked to certain people's site. I can tell how many people are going on your site. I know who's going. I know who's pitching the product. I know who's pitching the opportunity because we can tell by who's clicking on what, how long they're staying there, what they're reading, so forth and so on. It's called analytics and understanding. It's all about the tone that we set on the front end of the business. If we set the right tone, we're going to get the right music. Remember this, if you set the right tone, you're going to get the right music, ladies and gentlemen. The audience is going to be rocking left and right because the music is right. You've got to set the tone to get the right music. So that's what I want to share this morning on the Prosperity Mindset Call as we go into the weekend. Now, great leaders compress success. This is where you get wealthy. And this is where you're going to make some exceptions. Because you know what? Most people are in jobs during the week that are so devastating to them. They're so mentally drained and physically drained and financially drained The weekend is just like it's a freedom run. It's like a herd of animals that just go out and graze. Successful leaders, they use Friday, Saturday, and whatever they got the weekend to compress their success, because the rest of the world has taken their foot off the gas. That's when wealth is generated. That's when compression can happen. That's where success can be accelerated. When you work on your skills, when you work on your business, when you work on your relationships, when you work on the leadership development in your organization. Weekend is the opportunity to compress your success. The question is, will you do it? Will you do it? So I appreciate everybody jumping on this morning's call. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Let's go out today and make it a great day, the best day you've ever made it. Let's go out and continue to keep banging the phones, doing the things that we know we need to do. Number one, invite. Number two, get them to the presentation. 3, get them on a high-energy 3-way call. And 4, plug them into the system. Take care, everybody. Be blessed. Enjoy your Friday.